At the Melbourne Design Awards, Tom Farrah from Farrah Design, welcome to you.
Thank you, Farrah.
We're talking about a bowl that doesn't actually exist yet, so it's a concept. It's been through a few prototype phases, but it's a very specific bowl for a range of communities, I suppose. So tell me about what the bowl idea is.
Absolutely, yeah. It is quite conceptual. The idea was to try and eliminate some of the stigma that's attached with medical aid design and the use of medical aids, whether they're for inpatient rehab or at-home rehab. And try and attack the design problem by designing an ergonomic bowl which would deliver all of the function but have what we ended up labelling as a non-disruptive aesthetic. So it would appear as though it's predominantly a normal bowl, but it would be able to deliver more function for people with disability and also for people with ability, just an ergonomic bowl that would be easier for all human beings to use.
Okay, so it's a good-looking bowl, it's attractive, it's aesthetically pleasing, but also it will serve a variety of functions if you have some mobility issues or visibility issues as well. So it can go to anyone, essentially. So it's accessible design, that's what you're looking at doing.
Absolutely. So it's predominantly in two parts. The form was developed in conjunction with looking at some documents about the link with stigma and people's use of medical aids and how we could tackle that problem from the aesthetic perspective, but also the way that we enter market is also a huge part of the concept as well. So we aim to try and introduce the bowl into restaurants and cafes first, into the able-bodied market, to try and have it seen and recognised there, and then deliver into the rehab market as well, so that we're actually designing for all human beings. But we try and normalise the product prior to it going into the area where its development DNA exists. And
why do this, Tom? What's your motivation for doing this in the first place?
My mother lost her vision about 12 years ago from a heart attack, and it was interesting during that rehab process, and I was a carer for Mum for a couple of years, watching Mum with say marshalling guards and things like that were snapping onto the bowl. Mum was in her mid-50s. Even though she couldn't see these medical aids, the stigma still existed, which was a fascinating thing for me as a designer. So it was interesting. How could we attack that problem? And these aids are incredibly useful, but there's not much of a sympathetic design in terms of their aesthetics. So something that can be designed with a huge amount of function can be almost rendered completely useless if it's not used in the first place.
So this bowl enables you to turn left and right with your spoon. It allows you to gather. It's got a flat section in the middle, etc. So describe the design for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's we wanted to try and deliver a lot of function across the board, and so basically we talking with occupational therapists. There's no uniform way of marshalling food that depends on a person's disability or what they do have as an ability, and so we got a few core areas. So circular motion to help with marshalling food. So there's what we refer to as a moat, which goes around the exterior part of the bowl, and then a progressive contour which will help fold the food back onto the utensil or spoon. But this is also mirrored on the other side, so it can be used by a left or right-handed person, and it also comes to a peak where the trajectory becomes quite sharp, and so the person using proprioception will be able to make a circular movement, and the utensil won't be stopped, but it will be acutely turned inwards, and that's when they know that their cycle of that marshalling has finished, and if they have food on it or not, then they can start again and do it, as opposed to chasing food around a bowl.
Yeah, I know that feeling anyway.
So
it's a great project, and I'd love to see it in the market, but I know you've had a few mishaps so far. As with any design process, it goes through a variety of iterations before you land on the right thing. So yeah. Where are we at?
We're at about 354 different pieces in a kiln over in Farrington.
It exploded.
It did.
Oh, sorry.
This particular winter in Melbourne has been pretty wet and cold, and so that's actually been very difficult to get to the clay that we're using to dry out in a reasonable time for us to be able to try and fire it. So we've had a few, three in fact, that have exploded. So we're still working through that. We built the original form concept with clay over the top of a 3D printed frame, so that we could actually build up the form and see how we go from there. But it's still, there's a lot to go through in terms of the development of the form once we've tested a prototype, and then we'll come back and finalise that form, and then also be informed, I guess, with the final construction method, whether it's slip cast or going from handmade.
Okay, so there's a few steps to go, but it's an amazing project, and thank you for telling me about it. Thank you, Tom.
Cheers. Thank you.